Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Hey guys, what is happening? Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. I love me some Star Trek. Whether it's the original series, the many spin-off shows, or the recent film reboot, which sets the story in an alternate timeline. For me, it was one of the first progressive shows to show a diverse cast, and wasn't afraid to tackle political issues of its day, due to the fact that it was based in science fiction. Now, I've read a few Star Trek comics, but nothing has been more relevant to our current virus-themed month of Halloween than Star Trek Infestation. One thing that's always piqued my curiosity has been crossover comics. They're either developed within the same company, like the Alien vs Predator series, which was produced and published by Dark Horse, or they're an intercompany crossover, where two publishers will team up to work on a project, featuring characters from either side, much like Batman vs Dredd. We are going to take a look at one of IDW's crossover events called Infestation, which links a few of their popular licenses together. The premise is that a virus has broken out, which is moving rapidly, and has managed to travel to alternate Earths through a portal, spreading the plague wherever it goes. Although the first issues which spawned the crossover were written by seasoned legends Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, Star Trek Infestation was written by Scott and David Tipton, and features some incredible artwork from Gary Erskine and Louis Delgado. For a copy of the story, and more from the creative team involved in this, I've left links below to Comixology where you can pick them up for a decent price. The story begins with 3 of our heroes heading towards the planet Calibus. Admiral's Log, Stardate 7493.5. Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock and I are en route to the colony world Calibus 7, where the Doctor is to be honoured for his recent efforts in curing the Arpalian viral pox, which had been ravaging this system for months. The Enterprise is continuing on to Starbase 37 for a resupply stop, and will rendezvous with us on Calibus in 5 days. We head inside the transport ship to find Dr. McCoy complaining, insisting that this was all a waste of everyone's time. He essentially doesn't think he should be getting a medal for doing his job, but Kirk informs him that he had saved many lives, and the people here just wanted a chance to give him their thanks. He tells Burns to relax and enjoy the scenery before asking Spock for their arrival time. Spock notifies them that they are 75 minutes away. We can also see Bones muttering under his breath. "Enjoy the scenery," he says. "Last time I enjoyed the scenery, I wound up with a medieval lance in my chest." As they get closer to the planet, McCoy admits that it is indeed beautiful. "Curious, Admiral. We are receiving no landing beacon from the colonists. Indeed, all attempts at communication continue to go unanswered." Kirk tells him that he doesn't like the sound of that, before asking Mr. Spock to take them down closest to the largest settlement. We see the shuttlecraft making its descent, as Spock notifies them that he's still not received an attempt at communication from the colonists. Kirk states that it isn't the lavish welcome they were expecting, and tells the men to bring their sidearms until they know what is going on. The door opens and the officers exit their craft to begin their search. I mean, they were expecting a marching band, giant balloons, and a hero's welcome for McCoy, and have been left stumped by the apparent emptiness of the city. What we then see is Kirk ordering his men to strategic positions to get a better view on things. He tells them to stay focused and insists that they don't venture too far. I mean, as Admiral, his responsibility is to his crew, and he wants to ensure that they are safe at all times. In every iteration, Kirk is arrogant and brash, but the one underlying truth is that he is selfless and always puts the lives of his crew first. Kirk then returns to Spock and asks for a speculation on what might be happening, but Spock informs him that he has insufficient data to make any sort of informed supposition. There are 374 colonists who live here, and the last transmission that the Enterprise had received was dispatched 14 hours ago, which meant that whatever has happened here happened quickly. One of the men then calls Bones over. He tells him that he has found someone, and we can see him tending to a man who is outstretched over a cylindrical drum. They all gently turn the man over onto his back, as McCoy scans him for vital signs. Bones informs the group that he is not getting a pulse, and a quick scan has revealed that his lungs have shut down. He turns his head and tells Kirk that the man is dead, but we see him begin to move. The man then bites into Padilla's hand as he begins to rise slowly. Kirk orders Barnes to set his phasers to stun and fire, but the man continues to move in on them. Kirk tells Barnes to keep at it before turning to Spock for assistance. Spock also fires before telling him that the phasers are having no effect. The Admiral then orders them all to pull back and create some space between them and the crazed man, only to have Bones inform him that they have company. We can see a horde of people alerted by the sound of the phasers, slowly moving in on their position. One of the men is terrified at the sight of the overwhelming numbers looming in on them and asks the Admiral what their plan was. Kirk then points ahead and tells them to move. The men begin to hustle as Kirk asks what those things moving towards them were. Bones then tells him that he's not going to like his answer, before advising him to look at their clothes. We can see that they are wearing Starfleet uniforms, as Bones confirms that these poor wretches were their welcoming party. As they head inside the structure, they find more infected coming at them. Kirk quickly grabs a nearby plank of wood and smashes it over one of their heads. One of the lieutenants suggests that they set the phasers to full power, but is told by Kirk that these people were still colonists, and he was not prepared to kill them. We want to find out what is happening to them, in the hopes that the Doctor can figure something out. The men agree and begin arming themselves with makeshift weapons. Spock tells them all to head towards the administration center, as it would be a great place to look for answers. As we get an overhead view of their position, we can see that the entire town is swarming with infected people who have been alerted to their presence. Padilla, who was bitten earlier, begins to slow down before collapsing to the ground. We can see his eyes turning red. He then leaps onto Barnes. There is a brief struggle before Padilla bites him on the neck. The two lieutenants use all of their strength to try and get Padilla off Barnes, but cannot. Kirk then hits him across the face, causing Padilla to fall back. Barnes is picked up by his comrade, who then helps him move away from the oncoming horde. As the remaining men make their escape, Bones tells Kirk that he believes they are dealing with a virus. They quickly enter a storage shed and close the door behind them. Bones offers to take a look at the fresh neck bite and confirms his suspicions. I've never seen anything like it. Whatever was transmitted from Padilla's bite is coursing through your system with unprecedented speed and aggression. Barnes grabs his wound and tells them that he does not want to die. Kirk desperately asks if they can do anything, but Bones insists that they don't even know what it is yet. They look on in horror as the lieutenant begins to change. Kirk notes that Barnes is taking longer to change, which McCoy suggests could be attributed to Barnes having a stronger immune system. He then states that Barnes might be fighting it in a way that Padilla didn't, before admitting that he does not have any answers. We can see that Barnes has now completely transformed, just as we reach the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I'm a huge Trekkie, so it was cool to find a short, neat little story that fit our virus-themed Halloween run. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
Again. He tasks me. He tasks me, and I shall have him. I'll chase him round the moons of Nibia and round the Antares maelstrom and round perdition's flames before I give him up.